Wasn't it? 30th. It's 12 o'clock. Welcome to Taking Stock. It's the 30th of January, 2024. And John's here. It's a Tuesday. Johnny Tuesday. You're right, John.
Not bad, how you doing?
All right, yes. There were lots of news out today. The market's
Busy.
perking up. Yeah, and a lot of volume there. And, people are getting a bit more excited, I think, about the market. In fact, we're looking at the AIM All-Share chart, but it's looking quite good. But before we do that, let's have a quick gander at the old markets. Oh, don't want that bit. There's the Zoom thing. But all green on the screen there. Looking good. FTSE 100 up 0.5%. Yeah, that's the big riser there. 3i Group. That's been a cracking performer, that. Of all the, well, it's not an asset manager, but it's one of them. But I mean, that's just been top right. 250, up 5th of 1%. 350, 0.45. AIM, it's up a smidge, but it's up. It's all green. 3i, Rolls Royce, Order Trader, Flutter, Entertainment. What is, isn't Flutter, who do they own?
Paddy Bauer.
They're listing on the New York Stock Exchange, aren't they?
Yeah, they're talking about moving their listing, yeah.
They're moving.
Primary listing, yeah, to the US, which is where most of their business is now. You know, that's what these companies are becoming.
Okay, turncoats. Barclays, Ashtead, upgrade from Ashtead. Let's look at the folders here. Diageo, of course, one of these sort of fund managers' dream plays. A lot of them have it. They're down not a lot, 3%, but it's a big company. And interim results of the day. I think there's a bit of a hole in there, sort of Latin American play. Did you read that at all, John, or not? Diageo?
I did, yeah. It's you've basically got some very poor trading in South America and the Caribbean, and US consumers are trading down to cheaper brands. So it's a perfect storm, I think they describe it as.
Yeah. Perfect storm. Do you know what though? I'm thinking there. I've often said, a couple of times that do not jump on falling knives. They don't work, and generally they don't. Every now and again, though, you have an exception, and we had an exception. Because I remember coming on here several times and just talking about the woeful news coming out of Helium One. Literally technical problem after technical problem, and the share price absolutely tanked. And in fact, let's look at the chart there. It absolutely tanked. A day away. It's now if you'd have jumped in all the way down here. In fact, look at that. It literally it's come from. Let me just move this set my heads. Look at that. It's come from 10 pence, and it went down to what you couldn't even see on the chart. Literally, that's how far it went down. But a lot of people jumped in right at the bottom here. And this is going to be one of the best recoveries ever on AIM. Because look at that.
It's not a recovery, is it? I mean, it's
well, it's recovered. Well, it has recovered because they literally weren't actually getting any success in the drilling. So I mean, operationally, it's recovered. Well, I mean, let's talk about the broad church.
There's a long way. I would say there's a long way to go before you just call this a recovery play.
Well, that's
to me, technical bounce based on the sudden bit of investor enthusiasm.
Yes, but it's a 10-bagger. Technical bounce
from a fraction of pence.
Yes, but it's a 10-bagger. I know. Listen, it's not the kind of play I'd make at all. And let's be honest,
you're not going to put your life savings into a
you're not.
A penny share and hope for 10 bags.
Yeah, but you don't have to. That's the thing. It's all about risk reward, isn't it? Do you know what? On my fancy stocks and shares site, a few people went into this. One guy put 14 grand, pretend money, of course, into this the lows, and he got like 170 grand now. Indeed. So it's like
fantasy being the operative word.
Yeah.
Who really is going to go out? I mean, some people must have done because the price has bounced, but you suspect there's a bit of market makers playing catch up here.
Yeah, but this is
also how much of it is real trading.
Yeah, this is also where people lose money, you see, because I mean, it was like it started this morning. It's like a 50 million market cap. I mean, what? 50 million now? That's nuts.
It's nuts when you look at the financials.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, if anyone is, didn't get too greedy and put a stop loss in, they could have made a lot of money on that on technical bounce. That's one of the falling knife trades that has worked out. But having said that, you often get. I'm talking about proper businesses now. This, they're drilling in Africa or something, but proper businesses that fundamentally, have had taken a hit, and in fact, Diageo is one of them. We see JD Sports another. Recovery plays can be quite good, but you've got to be patient.
We haven't seen the recovery in Diageo yet.
No. Exactly.
We haven't seen the recovery in JD Sports yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. So what you need to do on those is literally monitor, be patient, monitor, and that's all you can do. Because if you jump in too soon, because we know
Mm,
bad news, doesn't stand on its own, doesn't come out on its own. It tends to come out, in twos and threes and fours. Did you see that thing yesterday? Actually, there was the amount of profits warnings announced, and we did that on yesterday's show, was at an
mm.
all-time high. And I think it was like of the companies, announced profit warnings, they announced three or more in a row. I can't remember what percentage it was, but that's it. So you got a trading update that says it's not good, guys. Then you get the actual, report, which is the interims or the full year report, which say it's still not good. This is what's and all. So it goes down again. And then you maybe get a trading update then said maybe it's stabilizing or it's not. And it goes down. So you have to wait for, a good year or so, I think, before you get a good recovery sometimes. But this is like a technical bounce, of course. But I'm
But
saying that sometimes, sometimes you
recovery
go,
is, I mean, it's a difficult game to play. I mean, something like
yeah.
Diageo. I mean, this is a very highly rated share.
Mm.
And it needed to perform to live up to expectations. It's still trading on a forecast PE of 18. So,
Yeah.
when you've got a business going backwards, that high rating suddenly, is untenable.
Yeah.
But when you look at some of the sort of proper recoveries we've seen, it was Martens Spencer had a fantastic recovery over the last year or so. Rolls Royce, Centrica, what you've actually got there. As you say, it takes many years. You find them in a sort of value territory, so they've derated. Shares are not
Yeah.
looking expensive, but as you rightly say, they can sit on. That can remain the case for a very long time. There's a sort of famous phrase that sort of those interested in value should pay attention to. That is the market can stay irrational. Something can stay too
Yeah.
cheap for longer than you can stay solvent. So
Yeah. But this is why
so
I don't see why.
recovery is
Yeah.
a very nuanced game to play.
Yeah, but this is why I don't understand when I talk about fundamentals and technicals. Because, oh, the charts. No, what are you talking about? And fundamentals and technicals are needed together to play good recovery plays. I mean, in proper business, not just technical bounces. I mean, you need both because you can have like sort of stabilization in the fundamentals, and the chart doesn't really go anywhere. You keep getting people selling into it because they're down underwater, and any bounce they'll sell into. But look at that. Even today, you do the average here upside in Diageo is 13%.
Yeah, but that's based on an analyst forecast.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, I know, but
analysts do have a
it's 21
tendency.
analysts. No, 21 analysts. That's not
Mm,
about average. And you're talking about the average. There's one guy, there's a couple there who are at 45%, but the average is 13. Minimum is minus 13% or 14%. So to me,
but it, but
yeah,
there you go. If your average is 13,
yeah,
so this is share price upside. I mean, what I want to know is what the earnings going to do.
yeah. Well, that's
Because
based on earnings. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
basis upon which I'm
yeah,
gonna value something. Um,
yeah,
and the earnings here are going backwards in 2024, and then they're
yeah.
rising at, let's have a look at EPS, 8% in 25, 6% in 26. How on earth can you justify that sort of very pedestrian rate of growth with a PE of 18 and a half?
Yeah.
That's the disconnect here. So,
Yeah,
this
I
one might
know.
stay cheap for a while.
Yeah, yeah, I think that. I've no
And
compulsion getting there. I've no compulsion getting there. I looked at JD Sports as well and put forecasts on that, not a huge amount, and I couldn't see a lot of upside. But I look at that forecast and they're higher, and I thought, why? I don't understand on a
JD,
fundamental basis why that is.
the difference with JD is that it is actually very, very cheap. The shares are, if you're looking at a forecast, at 10 times 24 earnings. And yeah, you've got a year of going backwards, but 25, your earnings are forecast to go up 11%, 26 up 16%. So your peg, your price to earnings growth looks much more attractive
Yeah,
on those. And
and
as I
in
said,
fact,
my view of JD Sports is that, it has dominant positions in the UK, Europe and North America, but it's really yet to penetrate Asia. Whereas Diageo, so there is a massive opportunity there for it. Whereas Diageo is a global business; it has business everywhere.
yeah, but also I was hearing an analyst yesterday on CNBC talking about Diageo saying, but they can gain market share, they can just acquire companies. But it's arguments. I mean, there's JD Sports. They're saying average there pretty much of 13 analysts is 49% up, so it's a bit better. But it's considering it had a massive fall off. You think there'd be more upside than that, but there we are. That can change. The forecast, like the
Mm.
weather forecast, can change.
I mean,
If they start performing, it can change. Let's,
yeah, the one I've got my eye on as a recovery player is
yeah.
Dr. Martens, I have to say,
Okay.
because again, bad year, had a real stinker
Dr.
since it's come
Martin,
to
but
market.
hey!
The rating was frankly ludicrous when it came to market, and remains so for quite some time. But now again it's in that JD Sports territory: 11 times 24, 10 times 25 earnings, 9 times 26 earnings. You've got earnings forecast recovering 25, 26, and once again it's a global opportunity, but somewhat underpenetrated, and just a big powerful brand that I think if the shares don't recover, someone will snap it up at some point.
Yeah.
So that's but then Sky was speaking to the other day about recovery plays, an investment trust manager. It's a management thing often. The catalyst. What is the catalyst for the re-rating from something that's you've seen the business stabilize, but investors don't want to buy a stable business. They want to buy a growing business.
Yeah.
Unless it's churning out big dividends, but it has to generate cash flow to pay them rather than paying them out of capital, out of debt, borrowings. So what investors want to see is a catalyst for a re-rating for business improvement, earnings improvement. And generally speaking, that's a change of management.
Yeah.
You really, and it takes a lot of work for new managers to come in, convince the market that they know what they're doing, and then actually deliver on it. Often they come in and talk a good game and they don't deliver.
Well, it's hard. The thing is, to turn the business around is hard. Well, so what you have to look at, I think, essentially, is businesses are taking a knock because of the macro environment, but the business model is very good. And when interest rates come down and people, cost of living price comes down a bit, it'll revert. And in that time, they've been actually going on an efficiency program and making the business more efficient. And then when the upcycle happens, there'll be double leverage to that. So they could even go higher than their previous highs. But
this is true. This goes back to what I was saying the other day. Things like building materials, recruiters. They've got themselves in good shape in what's been a difficult trading period. Then when the cycle turns up again, and it will turn up again. These are cyclicals. That's a cyclical type of investing. Talk about. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not necessarily just not necessarily ones you hold forever. But yeah, there is definitely a lot of upside in that sort of business.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it recovery. I just call it riding the cycle.
Come on, John.
It's not recovery.
Get with the theme, yeah. Get with the theme, for heaven's sake. You awkward sod. Right. Anyway, listen. Riversoft says about recoveries are like Rockwood strategic because they invest in and help turn around companies and have a good short, if a short track record. He also sold Pepsitone. Hang on.
That's quite interesting. Because there are a lot of managers.
Let me finish this bit. Let me finish this bit. He also says, I sold Pets at Home bright and early this morning. The profit warning wasn't too bad, just a small share price drop, but I'm guessing there's too much risk of it drifting lower. Okay, go on, John.
No, I was going to say, companies like investment companies like Rockwood Strategic, there are other value-focused investors out there. One I spoke to recently called Aurora, a guy called Gary Channon runs that. They have a very value-led approach. They bought the house builders, or rather upweighted the house builders exposure right at the bottom of the market. They've got a separate division, for example, that invests in proper turnarounds, Dignity, Hornby, that sort of thing. But it takes a lot of work, and it takes almost like for these guys, for these investment trust managers, they are close to management. They are, looking in the whites of their eyes. They're actually, in some cases, almost guiding the strategy. Chris Mills at Harwood Capital, North Atlantic Smaller is another example of it's almost an active form of management. But that is a good way to play recoveries because there was a very, very deep process behind the work that those fund managers do.
I almost bought Hornby recently, and I thought I can't because because I saw it was improving, and that's the thing. Is it improving now? If that improvement is coming from quite a dodgy base, no, I mean talking about generally in companies. This is the thing. If an improvement and it is improving is coming from a dodgy base or base where they've been over leveraged, it can really re-rate. And in fact, Saga's another one like that. Is rumors that they're going to be sort of selling their ships and get debt down. But I looked at the figures today, and even though Hornby that's just crossed its 2-day moving line, I couldn't because the debt was too big. I think they 23 million revenue. I think debt. I can't remember what the debt was, but it was too much. And I thought, no. But remember, net
borrowing is about 22 million.
Yeah, if you look forward, the cost of debt will be coming down. So companies with debt, they will re-rate. So maybe it's a play. Yeah. But there's a comment here, John. I think it's from your brother, I think. John, it would be great to have you on more than 2 times a week. um, I would be really keen to hear your thoughts. In fact, I want to look at this as well. Hear your thoughts on Auction Technology Group. They came out today.
Mm,
You mentioned you use it, but have you considered buying the stock?
I
So
did.
let's have a look at the news here.
Good news. Shares up nearly 20%.
Yeah. So explain what is it? Auction Technology. Is
ATG.
it ATG? Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 18. Well, there's let's look at
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
they
So
do basically
basically,
as it says, technology for auctions. Yeah.
yeah, and it provides a platform that a lot of auction houses use to manage their online auctions, and it's across a range of countries and a range of so there's different types of things you can buy at auctions, art and antiques being the obvious ones, but you can buy anything, so like commercial kitchens, the contents of shops, you can buy restaurant furniture, you can buy almost anything you want
Mm,
at auction. Um,
yeah.
and what I said the other day is I like the fact their platform is very stable. So when you are using it to bid online,
Yeah.
there cannot be any they've got latency. There cannot be any delay
Yeah. You
with
can't have
what's
that.
going on
No.
in the room. And
There'd be bedlam. You imagine trying to
yeah,
buy something, you're bidding, someone bought it above you, the price above you, and it turns out it's quite, an antique is
mm.
worth a lot of money. You'd go livid. Whenever it's about money, you can't mess around. The technology
Yeah.
has to be spot on. Yeah.
And what I would say about their platform in that sense, it's very, very stable.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. But the problem is they are, like any kind of company that's leveraged to the consumer economy, and there is that effect. Someone buying at auction is probably selling somewhere else. So if they're not selling as much, they're not buying as much either. And this has had an impact on this company's share price. It was also very, very highly rated. If you go back and look at the chart, you'll
Right.
see how
Yeah.
how much it's come down. So
The margins are
ended.
very good, aren't they? But I remember I did a spreadsheet on it. The margins are very good. As yet, that's not backing up trend. I mean, in fact, it's Britain 50-day.
Yeah,
Yes, it's not. It
it's
needs to subvert. It's a good start there. Very good start. I keep an eye on
but
it.
I think what you've seen here is a company that was, like, say, very highly rated, a technology company, listed in the UK. But its earnings growth didn't live up to the expectations
Yeah.
of that share price, of that rating. So when that happens as well, the sort of distrust sets in, and it takes a long time to reverse that. A good trading update like this is just a start. And you can see, up 18% today. It's just a blip in really that sort of long term chart.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I said there's other aspects of their technology that I find a bit clunky. But then I have noticed them asking me for feedback about how they can improve their product. So I think they might be on it. I think they might be
When they say asking you, do you mean specifically or users?
users, but you
I
get
was going to
you
say,
get, you
oh,
get the pop
John,
up
give me some
saying,
advice, son.
yeah, but you know how it is. You get a pop up
Yeah.
saying, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what's your experience with this platform? Was there any suggestions you'd like to make? So I think they are aware that it has some shortcomings.
Yeah. Well, you should
I would
say,
say that
I
can
think your system glitched. I bought a Van Gogh at £5 the other day, and someone ended up buying it for 3 million, but it was mine at £5. That's how annoyed I am.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
mean,
so
no, I
yeah.
like, I think it's an
They
interesting
are,
niche, an
yeah,
interesting niche. What I do know is, they haven't got it all to themselves. There
yeah.
are lots of auction houses that choose not to use them or have their own systems in place. Um, but it is possibly as indispensable part of that ecosystem as you can imagine at the moment. It's just got to really deliver the numbers to kind of go with that.
Look at that. It's 655 million market cap, right?
Mm.
And it's a first quarter. So they did okay, 43. So say do 45 equals 90, 180 million. So yeah, so I know their margins are quite good, aren't they? So
Got about a 40% EBIT margin or
yeah,
thereabouts.
yeah. So that's what makes that up. But on a price of sales, it's not that accurate there. So it's a little bit pricey. Yeah, it's not cheap, is it? 'Cause,
No, no,
I
it's not.
did,
It's not cheap. It's getting cheap. It's got a lot cheaper, and at this point, it starts to
yeah.
become attractive.
Yeah, okay, let's look at the front page here. Vox, what do we got there? Cleantech Lithium moves closer to opening DLE, that's direct lithium extraction. I did chat to Steve Kessler. I thought he was going American. I said, can you chat to Steve Kessler? He sounds American, but he's not. He's British. And just as positive test work, basically been testing. different absorbents. I didn't realize this, the process of finding the right absorbent to get the most extraction, lithium extraction or eluate out of the system. And they found the
Mm.
right absorbent. It's 95%. And also it's very low, high purities and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's looking good so far. Yeah. So John, you've chatted to Hvivo. You're a holder of Hvivo. Nice little update today, wasn't it, from them?
Yeah, fantastic update. I mean, we sort of they telegraphed it in an update. I can't remember, just before Christmas. But this is again, it was even better than that. So, I think the highlight for me was the margin expansion.
Yeah.
That's really quite significant. And what Mo was talking about was essentially it's an operational gearing effect. So the more business that goes through their infrastructure, the more profitable it gets. More of it flows through to the bottom line, to cash flow. As it flows through the cash flow, they're paying dividends. The cash, we're sitting on bucket loads of cash, and this is even on, there's investments being made in this new facility, which helps their capacity even more. This is a virtuous circle of a
Yeah.
company. And start the year with record order book, 90% of 2004 revenues in the bag. So it's like, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's a very impressive company.
Yeah, they're looking for the 2028 target and it's 100 million pretty much, and they have
Yeah,
top line.
yeah.
So
And
if you
do you know
improve,
what? I mean, I think, what did I say? They can do all of that through the Canary Wharf facility. But they're
yeah,
looking, because they are so cash generative, they're looking for sort of complementary bolt-on acquisitions as well. So, I mean, like, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I could see that accelerating.
yeah,
That,
that's the way it'll
that
work. Okay,
profile.
just telling you, I'll leave that there for next time we talk about it.
All right.
Round about that thing, it'll have to come back a little bit, round at the support level, then it'll break new ground
But
there. Of course, that's
this
the way
is
it'll work.
this is what I've been doing though. So, I bought on a little dip
Yeah.
before. I bought on a little dip again. I'll buy on another dip. Should it come?
Because look at this, look at this. What's telling here, right, is that even this nice trading update here, it didn't break the previous high. If there is further news, it may do, but so it just
mm,
shows a little bit of exhaustion price wise. It needs to settle down, get some people out who don't want to be there, and then get some new news, bring some new buyers in, and yeah,
New
that's
buyers. That's what. Yeah, you're quite right. But again, I mean, this isn't cheap on a headline PE basis.
and it's close to 200 million market cap now, aren't they? Or 197 197
Yeah,
million, I think they are. Yeah,
but
in fact, it's most spread as well there.
their growth certainly this year is way. So the PEG ratio is actually compare the price to earnings ratio and the earnings rate of earnings growth. So that
Yeah.
on that basis, this company looks cheap. But then you look at a forecast for 24 and 25, and there's virtually no EPS growth factored in.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's what
It's funny on my fancy stock shares thing today. It's funny seeing because you can see the trades, the buys and sells on there, right? The amount of people buying that this morning and then selling it straight away, trying to jump on that rise, thinking it's going to keep going up. That's how
changes.
people get burned in the real world. When a company does a 10 bagger like that, it's ridiculous. It doesn't happen very often. Don't jump on the back of a company that's just done 10 bags in 4 sessions. It's not going to keep going up after that. It's 1,000% rise. It's like it's not going to happen. That's going to come. I expect now a little bit of I'd say in a polite way, a bit of consolidation happening there.
Yeah,
Most followed Diageo there, Supreme, of course, come up with the trading update yesterday, saying
yeah.
that
I think I was
the
spinning on the
regulations
share
are
price there.
yeah, they're ahead of that, and they said in fact I think the forecasts were boosted off the back of it anyway, so it wasn't as bad as they thought.
Well, I think the Supreme, there were two companies yesterday that were hit by this, really, Chill Brands and Supreme, and Supreme. We've spoken about it before. Paul Hill has spoken about it quite a lot, but they've seen this coming. This
Yeah,
this announcement by the government was really no surprise, and it's the right thing to do. I know some people say it's knee jerk, but these sort of disposable vapes that contain lithium and something I just
yeah.
these should not be disposable products, and Supreme has been working hard to get ahead of that, and it's we talked about it's
And
more
let's be
diversified
honest,
business anyway.
yeah. And the funny thing is, Chill came out in the morning and put their stuff out, news out. It went straight down, and Supreme didn't do it till later on. And they said, and they thought about it a bit. But of course, two different companies really, because this is a proper, a more mature business generating cash and revenue and all that stuff. like I said, adjusted profit before tax of 11 million. Chill is not. It's been loss making for years. So it's nowhere near the level of maturity here.
Yeah.
So this can be valued properly. And you say, well, it's cheap, and it has been cheap. It is cheap, and and that was largely down to the worry about regulation. And when they come out and said this is what we're expecting, and in fact, it doesn't affect our guidance pretty much at all. They played it the right way, I think.
Indeed.
But,
And, what I tell you is their shares are very cheap.
yeah.
Very cheap.
Somebody
Less than
broke
7
out that
times core earnings.
it didn't even dip to that. Look at that. It didn't dip to below that. I put a line in months ago, and it didn't dip. It dipped back below that, and then closed up here
Yeah.
yesterday. But it's now going to try and break that upper level there.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I think they will be. I think they're clever. I think they will be diversifying, and they're already doing that.
mm.
So into other areas as well. So
But
it's not just vapes, is it? They do other things as well.
well,
There's
indeed,
nutrition,
nutritional
yeah.
products and I think there's batteries part of the group as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, I mean, banning vapes, these disposable vapes makes sense, but for environmental reasons. But there are other concerns around their attractiveness to young smokers, vapors, what you want to call
Yeah.
them. But then conversely, the government does want people to stop smoking. They do want to make smoking unattractive. So there has to be some form of alternative, and some form of vaping would seem to be that.
Mm.
And so there will be a place for these products as long as those products are marketed in the right way and have a minimal impact on the environment. And so, you think that Supreme's in the right place.
And the thing is, it's so easy to get around. Literally, all they have to have is a USB port at the bottom of the thing, and that's it. They're now reusable.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's not a big hurdle, really. I mean, Elf Bar and was it Lost Mary, what they call it, Bloody Mary, what they call the other
Lost
ones,
Mary.
the most popular ones. They literally have to make them rechargeable. That's all. Done. I mean, they do that in China for no cost whatsoever. Because that's where they come from, isn't it? Those. So, do you know what? Another one, in fact, that's been hammered, diversified energy, but Argentex. So I'm always worth looking at this guy. I was in this a while back. I did quite well. I got out, just started getting weaker, and all of a sudden, very odd. This. I mean, sometimes, not always, the chart does act before the the fundamentals. Because I got in here, Golden Cross, literally went there, and I just suddenly I was sold, and it literally it
Mm.
kept coming down. And then CFO has gone, CEO is gone, lack of revenue. But they are saying now, and this is could be a good turnaround play because the levels of, I mean, if you see what they said today, and what's the market cap? If we look at the market cap on Argentex, let's look what they say first. So they changed what muddied the waters a little bit. They changed the end of year, which is always annoying. So the last set of results was only 9 months, wasn't 12 months. So everyone was comparing that to the previous 12 months. That's not very impressive, but there was still a little bit of growth. But if you compare it, now they're saying if you go back to 2022, it's going to be similar to that. It's going to be top line 49 million of revenue and profit not less than 8 million compared to 11 so it's gone down a little bit. But they had plenty of cash. And I think now it's worth watching this because this is an operating profit of 8 million. So they got no debt. So into that, what is it? 8 times 8 is 60. What's that? 7 P 7 8, pretty much. On operating profit, I mean, not P, but so it's not, they can grow now. That's a good business because they got a decent amount of cash last time I looked and no debt.
Maybe.
So yeah.
Maybe. I think what you want to see is, so they've brought in new management, new CFO. There were a lot of initiatives to kind of overcome challenging market conditions, which didn't seem to have worked. And so they brought in a new CFO. So with a change of management, you want to understand where they plan to address some of the recent weakness. So it's really a question of like, what have they got to say, really, beyond the statement that will give us the reassurance that they have a turnaround plan. And that's why I say, this is fallen deeply out of favour.
Look at that, though.
And it will
I mean,
take a
some
lot
of
of
that is
convincing.
restricted. Some of that cash is restricted, but they got 32 million in cash. So they got a decent amount of cash to play with. I mean, if you look in this area, of course, there's plenty of companies that
Cash can be
record.
wasted. Cash can be
it
wasted.
can. Yeah, it can. But you think the growth they had previously, it's always good products. I mean, there's been a competition in the market. And of course, Cornerstone FS, if you want to go to a smaller company that's growing seemingly now, then, take your pick. But trouble is, Cornerstone has already risen very quickly, CSFS. And so you're thinking, what do I go for? Do I take my time and wait for some, updates from. I would definitely wait. Obviously, Argentex. I mean, Argentex is a downtrend. That's an uptrend. Definitely wait for the results, final results. You can dig through it all. Then it's going to take a while after that. Like I said, these things, when you see companies, businesses that could be a good business going forward, falling out of bed for a bit, generally, it does take, a
Yeah,
year, pretty much. People jump in
yeah.
on these spike downs. I think don't do that because they often rally and revisit them. Definitely, if they haven't improved massively
That's how
operationally.
big shareholder comms required on this one, I would say.
Yeah, Oxford Cannabinoid is raising money.
Well,
Saga,
they don't ever worry about speaking to people. There's no shortage of investor comms that comes from Oxford Cannabinoids. Um,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, they definitely. I mean, I looked at the last set of numbers. They desperately needed money.
yeah,
You've seen
exactly.
that one kind of mile
Um,
off.
Saga, could this be I know they're swimming in debt, aren't they? And there's rumors they're selling one of their cruise liners, and they did rally on that. I don't know where they are at the moment. A few days back, there was at Sunday, the guy from Sky look at that. So look at that, it's come down from
Yeah.
like 30 quid down to 147. Now, if they do offload one of the, I think this could be a good play. Considering that the trouble is, it's literally it's like they are a company and the ocean is their debt. And that's it. Their cruise liner and the ocean's debt. So growth of 10-15%, underlying profit before tax, more than double that of the prior year. But ocean cruise revenue expected to grow. So they're going to sell, I think. The idea is sell their cruise line and lease it back. So they get a decent chunk of cash. So they
Oh,
still have that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
saying and lease back. It's yeah. That I mean, saying and lease backs can go wrong. The retail industry did it for years. It was
yeah,
one of the things that got M&S in a bit of trouble. They had all this wonderful freehold property which they're advised to sell, but then
yeah.
the property, because it raises cash, but it doesn't matter because then they've got to pay their rent. So
Yeah.
actually, you had all these changes to accounting rules that meant this sort of property, not debt, but the sort of liabilities,
Mm.
wasn't on their balance sheets. Now it is. So
Look at that.
it
Net
still costs
debt.
some money to lease a boat.
Yeah, yeah. Net debt, it does. Yeah, net debt of 657 million. Net debt. 657 million. They are 208 million market cap.
Mm.
That
I
is
haven't looked at this
worrying.
for years. I
That
haven't looked
that
at
could
this for years.
literally sink. So it's one of those ones that's it's a high risk play. But if they get, I mean, if they do something with it, reduce that debt, then seemingly the business isn't too bad beneath it. But at the moment, they can't move for debt, and that's it. They're drowning in it.
Mm.
So they need a lifeline. And I can't extend this analogy any further. But they need a lifeline in order not to drown. One of the
Yeah, I mean,
most,
don't forget they're also an insurance company.
yeah,
You would have
they show
thought,
themselves.
well, you would have thought, that this company, and it was a stock market darling because Saga, was its demographic is older people, and those older people tend to have more disposable income. They've paid off the mortgage, the kids are left home, uh, and it had an open goal here. Obviously, COVID affects the cruise business, but
Yeah.
it's never capitalized on the strength of its brand since coming to market.
Yeah. Okay. Michael says, I got into Hvivo at the opening today after a trading update notification delivered to my phone when I woke up. Thanks, Vox.
There
That's
you
all,
go.
Michael. Hope you didn't go too big there because when you get fear of missing out because it rallied a bit, go small, go very small to start off with. And then, if it goes in the right direction.
It was
Um,
actually the update to the price. I was watching the price moves today, so not something I usually do. But it sort of started at about up 4%, then up 5, then up 6. So it wasn't a spike and drop. This has kept rising throughout the day.
yeah. Hirash says, John always looks like he's on after just beating someone up. You got a black bomber jacket, right? Just been out sorting the guy out on the back. Right, let's get on with it. Yeah. The difference between Helium One and inform us. Stop going about cryptocurrency. I'm not interested in that. Listen. There are plays you can do on the stock exchange. They're exposed to cryptocurrency, and literally they're a bit more transparent. As in you can check out their, earnings and stuff. In fact, yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah.
UK retail is rubbish though. 10, 11 PE is fair price for things like Dr. Martin. Yeah, I think
It's not
yeah,
UK retail. Dr. Martens isn't UK retail. It's partly UK retail.
What is it? What is
Um,
it then? A brand?
which is a global. It's a product. It sells products. I mean, yes,
Yeah,
it has
yeah,
some
yeah. But it
shops, but
sells it by via retail.
yeah, but it doesn't make it. That's the same as saying like Unilever is a retailer.
No, but they're more diversified. Dr. Martens sell boots. That's all they sell. They're going to be hammered if people don't want to spend 200 quid on a pair of boots.
Which is why they are being hammered.
Yeah, yeah,
But things change, and
yeah,
consumer discretionary income incomes will recover.
yeah.
I'm not
I
saying
went.
Buying Mares on my watch list. They had a good bounce up, spike up the other day
Yeah.
on a trading update. So the bottom might be in there, but they're not a retailer. They're far from a retailer.
Well, they are
Um,
sort of, Johnny, but you don't
well, no,
convince
they're
yourself they're
not a
not.
retailer.
Don't convince yourself they're not. I mean, the fact that they are, that's why they've been hammered, because they are a retailer
No,
and they're overvalued.
okay, but then that's the Burberry are a retailer, or Burberry are a
Yeah,
brand owner that
Burberry's
happens
taking
to
a
have some
hammering
retail
too.
out.
Yeah, Burberry's taking a hammering too. I mean, they go. I mean, they do
That's
have
exactly
that.
right.
They do have
Luxury
that
and
generation agnostic brand. In fact, I'd say they're better than Burberry. Actually, Burberry is a bit more age specific. I think Dr. Martin spans the generations pretty much. It does. It has got that brand. Yeah, it has.
mm,
But still, when you're selling boots for 200 quid, they are, and people are, can't afford to pay their rent or mortgage, then it literally it's not the kind of thing you got spending on, is it really? Alcohol consumption, this is Kaniki, alcohol consumption is going down in the young age groups, so Diageo
true.
has got problems ahead. True, yes. There's a guy trying to defend that on CNBC. Didn't make a good argument at all, I thought. And I wasn't, in fact, maybe more convinced that he was wrong.
That's what
And
I thought was interesting in the state. One thing I thought was very positive. Guinness sales are absolutely booming. And
yes,
what I hadn't realised was one of the reasons for that is more women are taking up Guinness drinking.
yeah. When An Ireland won An Ireland literally won the Six Nations last year, and then get close to win the World Cup. So I was,
Mm.
so maybe people are drinking more of that. I
But it's
don't
meal
know.
in a glass.
Yeah,
Plenty of iron in there.
yeah. Matthew says Supreme, some bounce and RNS say lots of people egg on face selling at 18.99 pence when they realise RNS. Yeah. Saga struggling on the insurance side. Oh, they're struggling as well on that side. Okay.
Yeah,
Argentex update
exactly.
includes, however, market conditions have remained challenging and there have been a number of costs which had not been anticipated previously. Yeah. So always that however word.
What I
Sometimes
mean
just go for
is,
just do a fine for however. Dabbled a small bit. Fox could be saying that in Daily Crap to comment. I don't want the Daily Crap to comment in. So there's a couple of other things. Hang on. What do I look at there? In fact, do you know what? It's an interesting bit here. This is probably the least. I think we should have a least sexy RNS title, right? This goes to Great Western Mining Day, and it's literally positive sol and grab results. I can't think of anything. Never gets excited by that, but they are. It's up 43%. Wow. So this is has positive sol and grab results. So there's copper in
that's what you
sol.
want, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That's not the kind of thing that ticks, floats my boat. In fact, Synectics had a nice little thing. I'm sorry, SNX. This is a company, right? That I think honestly do the hardware and software. They're extending their software side, software service. I liken to Journey a little bit, but it's what nice. They've extended their framework agreement with National Grid. Additional contracts valued at 4 million. Now that's quite, but when you literally are a 28 million market cap, that's quite
Mhm.
significant, and they're going to be. If you look at the metrics in there, they're not too bad. They are improving. It's one of those companies that literally took a bit of a hit in the downturn, but I think they are improving now. The recovery is on. I think it's on.
Yeah,
Like a
not one
car.
I've looked at, I must admit.
Okay. Falling down, Dulwich Island. What was it? Bishop Mine. Speedy Hire. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
sure. It's a horrible statement.
What the heck's going on there? Why am I being served these adverts? Ann Summers now. I do not ever look at Ann Summers ever.
I thought your what ads you're served are very dependent on your browsing history, aren't they, Justin?
It's not. No, no, no. I've never ever been to Ann Summers' website.
Sure.
Uh, in fact, I just had cruise lines. You see, so here we are. So the trading update, business continued to perform resilient. Spot the negatives in there. Velocity strategy, net debt. Oh, there we are. We continue to make good progress with the implementation of our velocity strategy. Oh, I bet they sat down and knocked that out in the boardroom. They were very pleased with themselves. And we got a strategy called velocity. So they've got net debt has increased. So hang on, is velocity going in the wrong direction? Because you want to bring that down, guys, regardless of what you call it. deliver benefits of our opportunity speed here. Nevertheless, the weakness in some of our end markets and seasonal product lines and some delays in mobilization of significant economies. The board expects full year
Yeah, so it's tough. It's
below,
construction is
below.
tough, but again,
Yeah.
it's part of that cycle.
Oh,
It's why I've said, I do think there's bad news out there that's not getting in some share prices because, the economy has been weak. Certain sectors, house building, remains weak.
yeah.
And there was someone else today had some news around that. I can't remember who it
Oh,
was.
look at that. That's a, I just want to put that on the watch list for a recovery because when it recovers, that's going to really nicely because 84
Yeah,
29. What
yeah,
else
but
is
the
there?
point is that
Yeah.
these are
They're in
where you're
debt.
going to see that cyclical upswing.
Yeah.
As long as they are getting their businesses, as you rightly pointed out, Justin, in shape now, when
Yeah.
times are tough, when the upswing does come, and there is going to be significant investment in infrastructure. There has to be, not just by governments, but by companies as well.
Mm.
There is still a housing shortage in the UK.
Yeah.
There's still crumbling bridges in the US. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be built, and when the swing comes, the construction sector is the place. But we are seeing some sort of that signs of life in certain sort of building materials distribution.
And a bicep there is myself there, the skin tight. In fact, I must lie, John. That's what I'm wearing. That's why they keep serving me these ads. Right now, I'm wearing a pair of these. Give us that going on below me. This is company trading updates. Microlise, excellent ticker.
Mm.
Software as a service. That's a ticker, and they are software as a service, up 18% today. So just they are 114 million market cap. I don't know. I think they rose a lot higher. I thought, okay, full year revenue growth 13%. Okay, organic 12%, AR growth 11%, EBITDA up 14%. It's all kind of improving, but I
Mm.
don't see why they jumped like 20% and they're 170 million market cap. But
Illiquid.
nevertheless,
Look at the share
yeah,
price. Look
it
at the
is
share
actually.
price graph.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I was looking at it, and it's where is it? SAAS. So it's one of the things for the watch list. But if you look at it, the reason why it's very bitty is because there's lack of liquidity there, essentially. And it is
But
it
that's
expects to deliver
fine.
strong
But
review.
it's fine. But buying something that's illiquid is fine, and
Yeah,
unless you're in a hurry to sell it,
yeah. If you're
because
not
that
going to
would
trade it, yeah,
inevitably
yeah,
be at the same
yeah,
time as everybody else wants to. And
yeah.
but trying to get into an illiquid stock, you're going to have to end up paying a little bit more. But actually,
Yeah.
it's on an improving trajectory. Software as a service is unlocks a lot of profit potential in businesses that are shifting to those models. We see Fintel, today they call it
Oh
distribution
yeah.
service on the sort of fund distribution kind of thing. So it is there's a nice little software as a service sector in the UK, and it does
Yeah,
have this sort of this ability to lift profits, and maybe the market's just catching up to it now.
I was looking at those. I literally, filled out a spreadsheet and there was a few weeks back. I'm sure it was. And all of a sudden, I kept my eye off it. I didn't put an alert on it. The chart's done very well. It's gone from £2 to 2 to
Yeah,
2.5. I didn't see that. I mean, run there. So
yeah,
it was in this sort of range here. And it couldn't get above like 220. It did it there, 220. And that's obviously a breaker. You put an alert there. I didn't put an alert on it, which is silly for
mm,
me. I got alerts on everything. But yeah, but it has come back. It's
yeah, it's
almost
down a bit today.
traveled a bit. And obviously, news come out. So
Yeah, well, it's sort of it's it's in build mode, I would say.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, but
Uh,
I think once it's built what it's building, in its entirety, it was the sort of fintech back end to the retail financial services.
mhm,
It's gonna have a dominant position in the UK market.
yeah.
I'll,
There's a
I'll buy.
story here.
I'll be looking at that pullback with interest. Like this
Yeah. Oh,
company.
there's also location sizes as relaunched. They've acquired a company. I had to company bond. Look at that. But anyway, shop prices
Yeah.
rose at the slowest rate. Go on.
Oh no, I was going to say one company we haven't mentioned. Videos fallen off time. It's a company that I spoke to
Oh,
earlier in the week. Sorry, last week. Tertre Rouge Assets. And I like this.
oh,
He
what are
really
they?
is going to like this. It's basically they're a classic car investor. So it's listed cash shell.
Yeah.
They spent last 18 months buying six uh, ultra premium classic cars, heritage cars, the Mona Lisas
Really?
of the classic car world. And they've got some serious, say talent, business talent, motor racing talent behind this, but also business talent because those guys tend to be really pretty switched on. David Coulthard, Mika Hakkinen, Andre Arlo is the car buyer. But yeah,
Well, hang on.
I
Those
had a good
guys,
chat
the
to Chris.
cool
It's
tards and all that.
absolutely
The cool tards are involved in this, are they?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I really it was a great chat. I really loved hearing about this guy. I love classic cars. Just haven't got the money to own one. But now I've actually got a little, you can buy a share of some of the world's best cars, and some of the businesses around this industry. So yeah, worth a look at that video. I think this is definitely one
Okay.
worth keeping an eye on.
As they bought a 1972 Lamborghini Miura P40 SV for consideration of 3.25 million.
Mm. The
Wow.
most expensive car is a 1971 Ferrari F1 car, Scuderia. Uh, but yeah, have a look at the video. It's on the video page
I
on
will.
Fox. It's worth a look. They're fascinating guys.
Yeah. I'd like if they had in there like a Ford Sierra 1982.
Ah, well, you
That'd be
jest,
great.
but
I did, yeah.
the
Yeah.
80s and 90s are where the next set
Okay.
of ultra premium heritage cars are going to come from, according to Andreala.
Okay. Ford Capri. Three 3 liter Ford Capri. My father had one of those. It literally black, and we were driving. I remember to my cousins, and we were driving through Pontypool, right? And it was a summer's day, and this was brand new, or it was 6 months old, and it was the first one out, first 3 liter Capri, and it did in the end go down later stages, went to 2.8 injection, but 3 liter. Ford Capri, all in black with sporty wheels, and we drove past this pub with all these young kids in the summer hanging out, and they were all looking at it. Look at that! Like, it's a Ford Capri, but it's all black with sleek with the swallows. Anyway,
I would like one, but I wouldn't like to see the how much it would cost to drive it.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, back to more mundane things. Shop prices rose at the slowest rate in more than 18 months in January. They're down to 2.9%. It said separate. Also, slowest rate in January. Look at that. Some 86 million more lunchboxes were taken to work in 2023 as people sought to manage budgets more closely. Wow, the lunchboxes, eh? And look at this. This is a misdirection. This is a bit disingenuous. England and Wales sees most company insolvencies since 1993. What? That's dreadful. But hang on. Turns out there's more companies than there was in 2008, 2009. So the percentage isn't higher, but the amount of companies is. So if you look at it, 25,000 companies, but it said last year, 53.7 companies went insolvent out of under 10,000, out of every 10,000 trading. That was up from 49. In 2008, 2009, it's almost double that much, 94.8 companies out of every 10,000 in 2008, 2009.
Yeah,
So it is bad, but that headline makes you think like it's the worst ever since 1993. It's bad, but it's not as bad as the Great Financial Crash. There. And I think we're
it's
probably
media
coming
for
out of
you.
it now. And we're coming out of it now, I think. Coming out of it. And in fact, if you look at this, I haven't shown you, John, I would like to show this. Just lastly, quickly, indices. AIM share, right? It has done it. It's literally back above that. Hasn't done that for a long time. The bonds are coming down as well. I've seen a couple of mortgage rates go back up for some reason. I think they've come down too fast. But bonds yesterday are all coming down. And so, oh, there we are, all coming down, just 5 year. That's 2 rolling over now. We've had that little rally because it came up off very quickly, the 2 year yield. Now it's bounced the 50-day moving average, and now it maybe test this low again. So that'll be good. And we'll know about that Thursday. They'll really move on Thursday. So, of course, we've got the Fed, we've got the Bank of England coming out with they won't reduce interest rates, but they may see from old Bailey there suggestion that it's going to happen sometime in the future. I think. What do you think, John?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be interesting to see what he said. If he starts talking about them, because as yet he's bloody said no, it's too early to start talking about that. He may say now, oh yeah, we can start talking about that now. And if he does, I think we could have a good day on Thursday. The markets, I think it may be back to that vaccine day explosion where the markets jump up a little bit and come down, but go back up again then. But anyway, there we are.
Mm.
By all means, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Uh, Justin, I follow AI and I keep seeing an ad for AI girlfriend. Worse than Ann Summers? Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting Ann Summers, but
I wouldn't
yeah.
keep going on about it.
No,
It
do
was
you know
asked the
what,
question.
John? Do you know what yesterday last week we talked about something that happened, right? I went to screenshot it after what we were talking about, and I said, look, the cars are on there. We were talking about something, right? I think it was even no, I don't know what it was, but literally it came up an advert exactly directed on the beach, literally on the beach was an advert on YouTube. After I thought, what? That is crazy. I know they've got a marketing campaign going on, but we were talking about on the beach all the time, and then it was almost the main advert sponsor of the YouTube channel. I thought, come on, that's very clever. How do they
No.
do that? There you
Yeah.
go.
But now you're going to be inundated with
Yeah.
Christmas themed lingerie.
Yes, yeah. Or even Lamborghinis now. Lamborghinis now, you know.
I'll have the
Uh,
Lamborghinis.
yeah, or Ford Capris. uh, Thanks everyone. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you could, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, you tune in. Subscribe. Come on. Come on. And if you could, go to voxmarkets.co.uk/app and download the Vox Markets app. I talked to a friend about glitter bow ties, and then I got an advert on one. See, informal, that's better than the crypto chat or crypto chat. Thank you very much. Cheers, John. Speak
See you
on
later.
fire.